Good morning. Today we are discussing about the parallel operation of alternators. This is coming under your module 3 and this is the part 5 of our lecture. In the last class we have discussed about the introduction of parallel operation. What are the necessary conditions and what are the advantages of the parallel operation. These things we discussed in the last class. Now here we are considering two alternators are in parallel and no load is connected to the system. So you can see here this is the representation of one alternator and this is the representation of another alternator. E1 and E2 are representing their induced EMFs, that is their field system, and this Z1 and Z2 are their impedance of the armature resistance and synchronous reactance of both machines. Now here the loads are not connected, that means here it is open circuit. So in this system there is no current flowing to the load since it is open circuit. And the first machine there is an EMF induced E1 and in the second machine there is an EMF induced E2. These two EMFs are balanced with each other and there is no circulating current flows because both the EMFs are equal and they are balanced. They are 180 degree out of phase, and due to this EMF there is no circulating current in between these two systems. There is no circulating current since two voltages are equal and opposite to each other. They are balanced. There is no circulating current. Now if we are changing the excitation of any one machine, effect of change in excitation, so the excitation of the first machine is increased to E1 dash. That means it was E1 earlier, now it is increased to E1 dash. There is no change in E2. How we can increase EMF to E1 dash? Actually we are increasing excitation, DC excitation. Whenever DC excitation is increased, flux is increased. DC supply is increased means more field current is flowing and flux is increased. When flux is increased, EMF will be increased. Why? E equal to 4.44 into F into phi into T. So when flux increased means EMF is increased. So the EMF of the first machine is increased to E1 dash. So now E1 and E2 are not equal. E1 is increased to E1 dash. There is a difference. That difference is E1 dash minus E2. We can say it like ESY. Now what will happen? There is a balance, there is a resultant EMF, there is a resultant voltage. Due to that voltage, a current is flowing, it is ISY. So this ISY is a circulating current which is known as synchronizing current. So this is synchronizing EMF and due to this there is a synchronizing current. Now you can see here ISY is lagging E1 dash by an angle 90 degree. So whenever that current is lagging by 90 degree means it will be producing a demagnetizing effect. We have discussed in case of armature reaction. So this current is producing a demagnetizing effect, or this current is producing a flux. This flux will be opposing the flux in the first machine. So whenever this flux is opposing means E1 starts to decrease. Similarly, ISY is leading E2 by 90 degree. That means this ISY will produce a magnetizing effect for E2, or the flux produced by this ISY will be aiding the main flux in the second machine. That means E2 will be increasing. So both will happen. E1 will be decreasing and E2 will be increasing. So at some point this EMF will become again equal. So it is automatically adjusted there. So that is a necessary condition for the parallel operation. Terminal voltage should be equal. So what happened here? Whenever there is a difference in EMF, due to that difference a current will be flowing and that current is automatically returning the system to a balanced state. So that current is known as a synchronizing current. So these things we discussed is mentioned here. ISY leads E2 and produces a magnetizing effect. So produces a flux, aids the flux in second machine and E2 increases. Thus again both voltages almost become equal, not exactly, which is a necessary condition in parallel operation. So this synchronizing current will produce a power. That power is known as synchronizing power. Actually, this synchronizing power is produced, or synchronizing current is produced due to difference in excitation. Anything related to excitation or flux will be reactive in nature. So this synchronizing power will be a reactive power. So this reactive power is actually making the adjustment whenever there is a change in excitation. So we can say whenever there is a change in excitation in the system in a parallelly operating alternators, it will be producing a power which is known as a synchronizing power. Now we are moving to the second effect, this effect of change in steam input. Steam input is given as a mechanical input to the rotor. So whenever we are changing any, we are making any change in the steam input of any one of the machine. So now steam input of any one of the machine is increased. Let it is the first machine. So when this mechanical input is increased means its speed increases. What was the change earlier we made? We are giving more excitation, more DC excitation. More DC excitation means more current, more flux, and it is changing the voltage. So when DC excitation increased means it is changing voltage. When steam input is increased means it is changing the speed or frequency. So speed increases, and when there is a difference in speed, earlier it was equal, speed and frequency was equal, of both machines were equal. Now the speed is increased means there is a synchronizing current again. If there is a change in difference in speed, this one also we discussed in the last class. Whenever there is a change in speed, there will be a circulating current, that is known as a synchronizing current again. And a synchronizing current flows between the two systems, which produces a synchronizing power. Why a synchronizing power produced here? It is due to the change in steam input. Whatever the change related with the steam input, it will be an active in nature. So if you are making a change in excitation, the power produced will be reactive in nature. If you are changing the steam input, power produced will be active in nature. So here an active power is produced. What the reactive power has done earlier, it is making a flux or making a voltage, and it is again making a balance in the voltages. But here this active power will always producing a torque. So this is producing a synchronizing torque. So synchronizing power produced here is making a synchronizing torque. This torque decelerates the first machine and accelerates the second machine, so that the speed of the two machines will be becoming equal again. So which is necessary condition for parallel operation. So what you have to note down here, in the first case there is a change in excitation, and due to the change in excitation there is a power produced, a synchronizing power produced, which is reactive in nature and which is again balancing that voltages. Due to the change in steam input, a power is produced, a synchronizing power is produced, which is reactive in nature. It is making the speed becoming equal again. So these are the two changes you should note down in the case of synchronous machines which are operating in parallel. Now we have to discuss about load sharing between two alternators which are operating parallel. From this diagram you can see there are 2 points A and B. These are the operating points. That means the two alternators A and B. These are the two alternators. This is A and this is B. Actually this is B, not this is B. And now the first alternator is delivering a power P1 corresponding to B. Second alternator is delivering a power P2 corresponding to A. So these are the 2 points. Now, so you can see here this is representing frequency, actually y-axis, and x-axis is representing power. So generator 1 is delivering a power P1 corresponding to this point B. Generator 2 is delivering a power P2 corresponding to point A. And you can see here corresponding to this there is a the frequency is f. So load PL means that is the required power equal to AB. That is the line we have drawn with this red pen. So red ink. So this AB is representing the required power PL. At a frequency f, load is shared as P1 plus P2 equal to PL. You can see it here. Now, in order to increase the load on G2, correspondingly reduce the load on G1 so that frequency remains constant. Then only this balance will be kept. That means if we have to increase the load on G2 means this side of left side, negative side or left side of this curve. So we have to increase the load. That means it was P2. Now we have to increase it to P2 dash. It is more than this. So it is not negative actually. It is the left side. Both are positive only. So this P2 has to be increased to P2 dash. Corresponding to that, the point is A dash. Now with this, if we want to keep the frequency at f itself, you can see from this one. Corresponding to A dash, what we have to do, you just extend the same line and it will meet the point here. We have to keep the frequency at f and PL is again same. The same quantity PL should be maintained the same. So P2 is increased to P2 dash means P1 should be decreased to P1 dash. Then only PL will become P1 dash plus P2 dash. Similar to PL is equal to P1 plus P2. If P2 is increased means P1 has. So we are telling like frequency power characteristics. So whenever power load on G2 has to increase, load on G1 correspondingly load on G1 has to be decreased. Then only we can keep the same balancing can be kept. That is PL equal to P1 dash plus P2. Now P1 minus that difference will be again equal. P1 minus P1 dash equal to P2 dash minus P2 equal to delta P. This delta P is the load amount transferred from G1 to G2 by adjustment of governors. So that is the difference. So during the process of governor setting adjustment, system undergoes load frequency transient. There may be some variations, but which would die out soon, and steady load frequency conditions established with new load sharing. So this is the thing. If some questions will be asked, like you have to explain about how the load is shared between two alternators in parallel. So whenever there is a requirement of increasing the load in one generator, then correspondingly reduce the load on G1. Then we can keep that frequency again constant. How we are doing these things? These are doing by the adjustment of the governor settings. So that from this governor settings we can adjust the steam input. So whenever something is dealing with the active power, then we are always making changes in the steam input. So here also we are making changes in steam input. So if we require some adjustments in voltage, we will be changing DC excitation. But here active power is to be changed, so we will be making changes in governor settings. That means steam input. So this is the thing. I think with this our third module is completed, and we will be starting the fourth module in the next class. Thank you.